From an undisclosed cornfield in the Midwest United States, this is the Rev Report.
Well, folks, it's back again. It's Good Friday. How the heck are you doing out there in the Chunk TV audience? Stream MD and Vaughn Live. Welcome to Chunk TV's Rev Report for the month of 3/25/16. You are locked in for the most extreme show that you'll possibly hear on the radio network here tonight on Chunk TV Live. Yes, folks, I am going to expose one of the most extreme topics that most people don't want to talk about on radio today. This group is called Godlike Productions. And a lot of people have posted over the years about the shell of Godlike Production. What Godlike Production is a group of conspiracy folks that basically have a man called Jason Lucas. He's a spyware maker. He basically makes spyware for the military industrial complex. Has made spyware to the point where he bought this conspiracy talk radio show website, GLP, and then he's made it to the point where he's had these basically like David Koresh followers that follow him basically around to harass other shows. We had a gentleman of Sonny Cardona that was on EXS radio, and he left our radio show in a huff, and then he joined this group, lady named Fen, and they had a show called the Live Raw Stream. And the Live Raw Stream was actually not a bad radio show. They talked about conspiracy topics just like EXS radio, but to the point where they would basically, if you called in, or if they even let you call in, and you weren't talking about their show, they basically blocked you. And if you go onto their websites, glp.com, they basically track your IP address. They track your IP address and sell your IP address to the many different surveillance state networks that are in the country today. You'll get sent over to the NSA. You get sent over to the CIA. You'll get sent over to aspects of the FBI. This group is all in bed with all these black hats that are associated with our intelligence agencies. They're basically, this GLP group basically got formed by a lady named Nancy, and she was from a Montauk Project. And with the Montauk Project, it was using acid and other mind control agents, and now they're using frequency resonance. Frequency resonance is they're basically using satellites and a program called Darknet. And what Darknet is basically an internet protocol that's over top of the real internet. And what they basically can do is basically they hack into back doors of other websites so that they can mind control more people and spread their nonsense of GLP. GLP basically wants to do is they get all these conspiracy topics going, they get all these people involved, and they basically find out that if you are a nut, they actually will send their goons to basically kidnap. A guy named Phil Thompson was kidnapped supposedly by them and took him to one of these PA cabins where they basically tortured him, and then he climbed out supposedly a window and was able to get away. These groups basically in the last 2 years have basically stepped up their operations against any members of the old EXS radio team, to the point where they were taking pictures on me, my family, that kind of stuff, where I work, where I live. And they're doing this repeatedly on the Darknet. They're posting where my location is, how where I poop, and that type. And they're saying that, I'm exposing them and everything else. Well, with Anonymous just hacked ISIS. And when they were hacking Anonymous was hacking. They've been hacking GLP because GLP is CIA, and Anonymous doesn't really like them. So they've been basically GLP's been running off Bitcoins. So they basically got GLP like they basically put a font or a pawn into GLP, and they took the bait. And we basically took a lot of their ways of funding themselves. Jason and Fen and Sonny, they don't really are losing money by the way of their bitcoins. That's where they're making their money. He makes spyware, and then he makes his friends help him like spread the spyware and multi-spam spyware all over. So the spyware that you're getting on your computer is probably getting from this Jason Lucas or from his ex name is called Trinity. And what basically did is they had a live raw stream, and basically when you were on the live raw stream, you were getting malware all the time. When I would listen to their network, I would get malware. They're ones basically what they're doing is they're making troll software that hooks to a phone system, and they basically record really stupid conversations. Like if you say hello, and they're like, "Hey, Al, this is so and so. You've been calling me 400 times," and it's just real stupid computer software with people on there talking all this stupid nonsense. And they've made enough programs where they're basically trolling me at work and trolling me on my cell phone, which I'm using blocking software now to block all that. But they got the balls this week to call AT&T, where a certain location of somebody I knew worked there, and we recorded through the AT&T server network the message they left, which is another one of those stupid messages. But to the point where we were able to track them similar to there, and it was basically the same area where I'm in the location where I'm at is where they're at. Supposedly Jason, Fenn, and all of them got a motor home this week, and I seen the motor home across the street the other today, and they are basically planning an attack tonight on my supposed they think my location. And the problem with these GLP guys is when you're on GLP and you say Travis Stock Industries, which is basically like a Clinton Foundation type, you don't really know where they're getting their money. They're getting their money from called the Black Hat Society. They're basically shells of the ex-CIA. They're actually like a little higher of the CIA, and that they basically are just looking for anybody that's really putting out the truth movement about UFOs or about what our government's really doing behind. But ISIS has been really hammering since this attack with their hacking. They're taking ISIS's money. They're taking their way. They're infiltrating their darknet. Now the ISIS has been using the darknet as well. The darknet basically is like some really. I mean, when you get on the darknet and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be talking to some bad dudes that basically will get into your network, get into your like bank account. I mean, they'll basically just cabal you to a severe problem. You got to watch that out when you're definitely doing it. They have a sister network called the Alien Earth, I believe is the name of it. Chunk might even be able to post that up. This is their new sister site. This sister site's even more complicated than GLP. It's more streamlined, but they are tracking IP addresses on that as well. I can imagine they got different pictures. They are doing Payne has entered the room, and I know who he is, and he's another anonymous member that has just entered the room. And GLP basically they're basically hacking people's phone numbers. They're using the darknet to basically hack phone numbers, addresses, social security count, the same way that when they posted Donald Trump's phone number, basically, and his thing, they used the darknet to break into Donald Trump's network. So basically, the same group called GLP, Jason, Fenn, and Sonny Cardona, Sonny Cardona lives in Illyria, and he has the Extreme Truth Society network, and he basically exposes all the New World Order. He's been doing it for about since we kicked him out of high school. Never finished high school, never finished the 9th grade, and he basically spends this whole entire time on making YouTube videos. And when the Masons in our other group, there was a Mason that was a Mason, Matt, he was just hammering Sonny to the point that Sonny left in a huff because he didn't want to take the heat about the many things that Sonny talks about, from the Nephilim to the New World Order to TMZ, all these people in TMZ are the evil. He constantly talks about evil, constantly talks about how he's the Lord and how he's the Messiah and how he's this and he's that. And when really he's just another talk show host. But yes, he has been properly doing a talk show host and doing YouTube to the point where he's getting like 6 to 7,000 hits a day. Obviously, he's probably getting paid from that as well. So basically, you have to watch out for the Sonny Cardona guy because he has this false ministry out there that he put on his page that he basically is using the false ministry to make money for himself so that he can attack the Rev Report and other people because he's using that software to attack. Okay, and should we go to another one called L.A. Marzulli? Okay, we're gonna go to L.A. Missouri. Yes, it's about Good Friday today, and I was just listening to some old L.A. Marzulli. L.A. Marzulli, L.A. he's basically the Watchers. He did the Watcher program, which is a series of different things about the Nephilim, the skull race, the Englonget skull, the one mind brain. Basically, these are the Watchers, the alien race, actually hybrid alien race that was here during the ancient times, where you had the Larians and you had the Anunnaki, and those three different groups that were on this planet that actually eventually fought each other. What happened with LA was talking about how when Jesus was put on the cross, his blood fell down into this crack. And when it fell down into this crack, it basically, the Ark of the Covenant is in the skull. They call it that land of basically where the skull, where it's like if you look at where Jesus was put on the cross, this whole mountain range looks like basically a skull. It has a cave in it that the group of the Israel government basically has on lockdown. They have a gigantic like special door on it, and they have someone guarding it most of the time. And that is where probably the Ark of the Covenant is still to the day. They kind of keep it in low key. There's been UFO sightings over this Ark, and what happened was when the blood went onto this like chalice. And I mean, obviously the aliens were involved in some of this. It charged up with the Y chromosome, the entity that was inside that box. For when they were, basically, it just charged it up to the point where it still to this day gives off all kinds of stuff. Then we had like the Book of Enoch, and the Book of Enoch was written by some really high ancients as well. And the Book of Enoch is this book that basically is like should be in the Bible, but not. But like Enoch was like a Larian, and he was. The Book of Enoch talks all about Genesis 6 and what really happened there. It talks more about who really Jesus was from, what race was Jesus from. I really get into the more of the Book of Enoch another day, but I mean, if you're not, the Book of Enoch should really be something to read. That if you were into the Bible type things, that it really, because Enoch walked into heaven, and today we actually are now, Jesus has been hung on the cross today as well. This is some people's very big holy day and everything. So I'll really get into it another time, but just want to say that the Ark of the Covenant is a very still powerful thing today that's controlling the Middle East. With the God's breastplate that is in that area as well. When you combine both the breastplate and the Ark of the Covenant, it's a lot of controlling factors in it. With the Ark of the Covenant and that breastplate can drive some people pretty much insane. We're going to go over to the next story, to Arizona. There was riots in Arizona, folks. Donald Trump went to Arizona and he did a speech, and they were basically from what I heard on two different networks, they were being paid by the Bilderbergs protesters to go out and protest and block the roads out there to his speech. I was at the Cleveland place, and they were doing similar things, trying to block the road. And basically these people are being paid to go out to these riots and just basically riot so that Trump looks bad. But with Trump doing what he is doing, he is going to bring a revolution to the New World Order. He's going to expose the New World Order for more than what it's worth. He has talked about the New World Order exposing them. He is not a mainstream politician. He's a businessman. He has his own. I believe he has his own network of people that are highly into the Labyrinth Group as well. I think he's more on the good side of the Labyrinth Group than he's on the wrong side of the Labyrinth Group. And with Trump, um, you know, Chunk has some things about what he thinks about if the inevitable civil war. What do you think, Chunk? Oh, it's not on.
There
Well,
we are.
okay.
One of the things that's just sort of been dwelling in my mind is it just seems like everything, no matter which candidate gets elected, no matter which way things go, um, it seems like we're driving towards an inevitable civil war, one way or the other. We're being separate. People have become a complete, separate sort of thing here in America, and it's eventual that we're gonna start fighting amongst each other. It's just the way things are escalating, and it's each situation like sort of winds up in like civil war and martial law, and then like us being completely vulnerable to, say, an ISIS attack just taking advantage of us while we're weak. And we really need to remember, it's one way or the other that we're gonna fight. It's gonna happen, but we need to remember at some point down the line, turn it away from each other. We need to stay together and realize, who the actual aggressors are.
Correct. With your view that we should occupy DC, is that with the report that I found here? Thousands pledged to get arrested in the DC protest next month. So I guess they're going to go down to DC. The leaders of a Democratic Spring, a collateral far left group, plots to a mass civil disobedient movement to begin next month. News that they have already confirmed 2,912 protesters will be pledged to risk arrest. Well, that's a good start, but I mean, is that going to do any good? We'll see. But I do think Chunk was talking about it a few other times about we need to occupy DC. We need to shut DC down. We need to occupy all the different municipalities down there, basically clog up the problems. I mean, back in the hippie days, they did it, and we did get some movement. They did it back in the Civil War and before the Civil War. We would go down there with pitchforks and stuff like that, right? So, do you think that we could get the zeitgeist movement going, Chuck?
I mean, I hate to be somebody to point out that, like, once chaos arises, it sort of allows for an opportunity, per se, for other changes to take place. But at the same time, that's what really makes me afraid of this particular situation that's brewing. There's going to be so many different groups at odds. There's so many random or different causes, and each one, no matter what, there's going to be no allying among groups. Each cause is so different that I don't know, but I really hope that we can all come together and really understand that driving for something like the zeitgeist movement, deleting the system at hand and installing the zeitgeist movement would really ultimately be our best option.
Correct. I think that's as well. Zeitgeist is just a whole different society where we would promote 0 point energy research and clean energy research, with Obama shutting all the power plants down with no coal, and not giving out any more certifications to mine any more coal. We're going to run out of coal here, and then we're going to depend on nuclear power plants that are older than dirt, especially the ones up in New York are ones are falling apart every single day. And then we've had that we've had that terrorist group that said they broke into a dam. Apparently, it's a matter of these ISIS groups eventually doing some serious harm to the United States. You have Obama down there too, in Cuba, and he's making deals with them as well. So if we ever do go to a martial law, they can possibly use Cuban troops to walk our streets of America, folks. And I really think Chunk's got an idea with the zeitgeist, but I've been really lurching in the zeitgeist, and it sounds good. But it's that time again. Once and all, it's the Chunk Drunk Tank. Yes, folks. This is the new section of the section to make you laugh. So here in Westlake, Ohio, a drunk driver was pulled over behind a parking lot of the Westlake police station. A police cruiser, while conducting a traffic stop with another police officer, saw this gentleman parked behind the police station. The driver of the car, John Zentel, 64, of Westlake, was arrested and charged with operating a vehicle under the influence and refused a sobriety test. Open containers were basically that fell out of his car in the parking lot of the police station, and he went to Rocky River Court and was released on his own reconnaissance after he spent the night in jail. The cruiser's overhead lights were active because so he actually saw another police car and he thought he was getting pulled over, so he pulled over behind the police car. The two of the three lanes were open, but he thought the road was closed, so he thought that the road was closed, so he pulled up or behind the police station and stopped.
This is Officer Leahy. I'm here to assist with the arrest.
So he thought that there was a good place to park his car behind the police station. He already had an OBI in 1998. So this is his next victim, you could say. It was terrible. There was another gentleman named Lloyd, and he was going over 100 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour. Got pulled over on 480 and was so drunk that they couldn't even get him out of his car. They had to basically have two people pick him out of his Corvette car that he had the weird handles. And they asked him why he was going so fast. He's like, I wanted to get home so I wouldn't be so drunk. As I heard, I still think he's still in the drunk tank, folks. Still in the drunk tank. And at least here in Ohio, we have actually got marijuana on the ballot, we think, here for medical marijuana. So maybe these drunk tank people maybe should quit drinking and just smoke some little reefer. That would probably be the best bet for you, folks. If you're drunk all the time, you might want to just switch to the reefer. And then you might want to not be drunk all the time, and then you might not get a DUI. You could get OBI as well. So, I just got a restricted call. So these people are calling me. The GLP is calling me already, folks. I'm having great. It's on vibrate. Anyways, what else is in the news? John Teeter has showed up as well. John Teeter has been on the news. He was a time trailer from 2036. He's going to be on Art's other show that he's got in there. I guess she's trying to get him on the show, but if you look up John Teeter, there is actual new John Teeter material on the internet, and I'm going to talk about that maybe in a couple more weeks when I find more information about John Teeter. Gary Shandling died. He was at 66. He died March 24th in a Los Angeles hospital. Didn't really say what he died of. He did the Larry Shander show. It was in '92. He did Over the Hedge in 2006. And what else he was doing? And that's pretty much what I have for today. You have anything, Chuck? Really? I think that's all I got today, Chuck.
That seems like the show.
Oh yeah.
I hope everybody liked the improvements. We're trying a few new things here, sort of knitting it together week by week, and we'll see how far we can push this. We should be as popular as Alex Jones by next week, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Play the show. Play the ending show credits, folks. Have a nice day.
From an undisclosed cornfield in the Midwest United States,
Is that it, Chunk?
this is the Rev Report.
Are we good? We're done?